Hi everybody, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. I apologize for the absence of the past month. If you noticed, not that you noticed, but I had a pretty crazy couple weeks at work, and then I got sick over spring break, and so I've spent the last week and a half not feeling great, and I'm finally starting to get a little bit better, but if you hear it in my voice, it's still there a little bit. That is life. So I am back and excited to talk to you guys about my spring TBR. This is more of a pile of possibilities. That's more how I'm doing my TBRs lately. It's working for me so far, rather than me stressing myself out about having to read all of these books and making sure that I read each one of them in this season. That's not really what this is about. It's more of creating a list that I can pull from, that I do intend to read, and I am carrying over whatever I don't finish in the previous season carries over to this season. So I did have 7 books that are carrying over from my winter TBR. Which was actually surprising to me. I thought I would have more, but I was able to knock out like 8 books in the past winter, mostly reading them, a couple DNFs though. So yeah, we have 7 books that will look familiar to you if you watched my winter TBR, but the rest of it will be books I haven't really talked about before, and also we will be picking some books out of the TBR jar so that we can get my total TBR pile of possibilities up to 15 books. So that is what we're doing today. So first I want to talk about the books that I'm currently in the middle of, and one of those books is a nonfiction book, and you'll see I'm not very far along. I definitely meant to be further along at this point, but this was a buddy read with Christy Lewis and also Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia, and we were reading through the Letters and Papers from Prison by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and it's not just by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Some of the letters are from people communicating to him while he was in prison, so his family members, people in his inner circle. If you don't know about Bonhoeffer, he was imprisoned for assassinating Hitler, attempting to assassinate Hitler, and he was eventually martyred. He was eventually killed, and he was a big Christian writer and theologian, also musician, and just a brilliant man of his time. And he was caught up in this plot to assassinate Hitler, which did ultimately fail, and he was ultimately murdered for his crimes against Nazi Germany. So he is just a really fascinating historical human. I have read the biography on Dietrich Bonhoeffer by Eric Metaxas. It's a great biography. I do recommend it if you want more of like the facts about what happened with this man and the people surrounding him. But I've been loving reading this because this is him communicating, and you really get to see like his inner thoughts and just what he was going through at the time that he was being interrogated. And yeah, it's a great read. It's just I've been more like picking at it rather than sitting down and reading big chunks. So this is taking me forever, but I will finish it eventually. I am also starting currently Shade by Chad Nicholas. This is a thriller horror book about a serial killer, and I am excited to read this. I have enjoyed Chad Nicholas's work in the past. I read his previous book, Nightmare, which I think was his debut. So this is his second book. This is an independently published work, and he kindly sent me an e-arc, and I am very excited to get into this. Very different than the last book. So a little bit of horror in my life, which I do enjoy an occasional horror book. So excited to get into this. I have a few Book of the Month books on deck that I've been wanting to get through so that I can knock off my Book of the Month TBR, or at least stay on top of it a little bit better. And so one of those is still on deck. This is a carryover from winter. This is also on my winter TBR, and it did not get read, but that is The Perishing by Natasha Dayon. And the synopsis really just attracted me right away when I read about it. But it's about a black immortal in 1930s Los Angeles who seeks to recover the memory of her past. And she is basically like dropped into 1930s Los Angeles and doesn't know like how she got there or where she's from. And it just sounds really interesting. It's a little bit maybe magical realism mixed with some historical fiction, and it just sounds intriguing. So I've been excited to pick this up. So this will hopefully get read in the spring. I also got 2 books in my March Book of the Month box because it was my birthday month. And so you get a free add-on in your birthday month. And so first of all, the main book that I was excited to read is The Cartographers by Peng Shepherd. I've heard really good things about this so far. And this book is a little bit of, I think, a mystery mixed with just a very like bookish setting, library setting. And it's about maps as well. And maps leading to this young lady solving a mystery that involves maps and cartography, and it sounds just really enchanting, and it sounds like a good time. And so, who is it? Nell Young's whole life and greatest passion is cartography. Her father, Dr. Daniel Young, is a legend in the field and Nell's personal hero, but she hasn't seen or spoken to him ever since he cruelly fired her and destroyed her reputation after an argument over an old, cheap gas station highway map. And so from what I understand, that gas station map is later discovered to be the key to this greater mystery. And that's really all I know. And it sounds great. So I'm excited to read this one. And then the add-on that I picked for the month of March was a nonfiction book, and that's Tell Me Everything, The Story of a Private Investigation by Erica Krauss. This one piqued my interest because it is a memoir and also part literary true crime, and I haven't read a lot of true crime, but I've always been interested to. I believe this is pretty heavy content because it follows her investigation as a PI investigator into a sexual assault, and I believe it also talks a little bit about her background as well with sexual assault. And I've heard good things about this. I read the first few pages and was really hooked, and I wanted to learn more about this woman's story. And so I think it's a little bit more about her, and then also what she discovers and learns about herself, and how she deals with her past alongside this investigation that she is doing. So was very intrigued by the synopsis, looking for nonfiction that I am excited to read because I do want to read more nonfiction in my life, so decided to add this to my box. I also have a couple of books that I would like to reread, and this one I wanted to start in the winter. It didn't happen, but that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I have read this before, so this would be a reread. I do want to reread it before I get to Cytonic. Cytonic and, you can't see it. Can you? Oh, yeah, you can. I've moved my books around, so I don't know where anything is now. So I do intend on rereading Skyward at some point this year so that I can reread Starsight and then read Cytonic. And unfortunately, I've heard some mixed things about Cytonic, so it's making me a little nervous about that. But I still loved the first book, Skyward, so this will be a fun reread if I get around to it. I've also picked up my Harry Potter reread again, finally. I did reread Prisoner of Azkaban this last month, and that was super fun. So I'm on to The Goblet of Fire, and I would like to reread the book in my illustrated edition. The 5th illustrated edition book is coming out soon, I believe this year. So I do want to pick that up when it's available. But I'm on Goblet of Fire, so this will be fun to reread as well. I've just been enjoying these illustrated ones so much, and they're just bringing back the Harry Potter magic for me. So this will be fun. And then the next 4 books are a carryover from winter. These were pulled out from my TBR jar, which we will also be revisiting here in a moment. But these ones did not get read in the winter time. One of those was The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, which is a middle grade novel that I've just heard nothing but good things about. I know it's on a lot of people's favorites list for middle grade, and I got this nice signed edition at a local used bookstore, so that was a very lucky find. I also pulled out of my TBR jar the Canterbury Tales. This I just keep putting off rather than starting it. I'm just waiting for inspiration to strike. I haven't been super inspired to pick this up, so it is still there on my TBR. It is continuing over. I also pulled out of the jar Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency by Douglas Adams, which I believe will be a lighthearted, fun, kind of whimsical read. I have not read Douglas Adams before. I have not read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but that's definitely on my list too. I do own that one as well. But yeah, this should be fun. A little mystery, a bit with some silliness, I believe. And then also I have another nonfiction book called The Road to Character by David Brooks. I don't know a lot about this one. I pulled it out of a, what do you call them? Little free library. And so it just caught my eye and I picked it. I believe it is about your values and character and how our values are shaped and how we experience developing character. I think it might be from a Catholic perspective as well, so might have an element of faith in it. I'm not sure. I know very little, but this got pulled from last season's TBR jar. So there it is. It also did not get read. And that leaves about 4 spots to get up to 15 books. So we're going to decide together what is going to be added to the TBR. So let's see where I put my jar. Where did you go? Here you are. Okay, let's see what happens. Give it a good shake. Ugh. I did just add a book to this, so I'm hoping that book's not just like sitting on top. But if it is, it is. Ooh, okay. Going to some classics. Let me locate that book and I will show you what we picked. So the book that I pulled out of the jar is The Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. A little bit intimidated by this one, to be honest. I, like many of you, like many Americans, The Great Gatsby was something I had to read in high school. And I remember liking it okay, but back then I didn't love classics like I love them now, necessarily. So I would like to reread Great Gatsby someday, but this is one by Fitzgerald that I've not read. Cautionary tale of reckless ambition and squandered talent set amid the glitter of jazz age New York. So I am looking forward to this. Hopefully I enjoy it. I don't know much about this one. I just picked it up from a Barnes & Noble. Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's find another one. Whew, hopefully it's a lighter one. Watch it be super heavy. Because I know that one's going to be a heavy, longer read for me, I think. Let's see what we get. Oh, okay, not going any lighter, really. But this is one that I have owned for too long and need to read it. Where is it? It's behind me. Let's move that little owl over there. Ooh, goodness. Okay, we're just gonna knock over everything. But the book that I pulled, I am excited to read this still. This is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I have not read a Neil Gaiman in a long time. I have read Anansi Boys, and that is the only one that I've read. I did enjoy Anansi Boys, but I know it's one of his not as beloved books, maybe one of his earlier works. And I know there's lots of other books that are very beloved by Neil Gaiman. And American Gods is one of those like big staples in his repertoire. So, not making this any easier on myself, just picking up big chunky books. But I'm excited about American Gods, and I know there's a TV show on some platform. Don't remember which one. But yeah. So Neil Gaiman, I am looking forward to getting back into Neil Gaiman's writing because I do enjoy him. Okay, well maybe the next one will be something short. Let's go for something short, shall we? Whew. Got 2 more books, guys. My TBR jar might be trying to kill me. Oh, okay, something short. Cool. Also something nonfiction. Let's find that. All right. Sorry, I'm getting a little sniffly. So if I start sniffling, that's because my nose is starting to clog up. But the one that I pulled is luckily a short book. Thank goodness. And that is Getting It Right, The Real Problem and God's Perfect Solution by Mike Fabrez. Now, Mike Fabrez is probably not a name that you know necessarily. He is the pastor of my parents' church. And so I want to say they bought this for me, probably. I think they did. And he's written a few books. They love him. It's their pastor. He's good. He's a good preacher. So, yeah. I'm going to read this one, and it's very short. It's only 130 pages about. So, yay, we can do that. We can handle that. One more. Let's make it another short one, shall we? Oh, okay. A classic. Woohoo. I'm glad we're pulling some classics. We need more classics in our lives. And this one is one of those books that I can't believe I haven't read yet. And so the last book that we are adding to our TBR for the spring is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, which, from what I understand, is super depressing. So, little light reading for the spring. I can't believe I haven't read this book yet. I feel like this is one of those that I don't know how it missed me in school, but they didn't make me read this in school. But I feel like a lot of people have. This is about Esther Greenwood, and I know it's a lot about her mental breakdown, and I think it might also be related to Sylvia Plath's experiences as well with mental health. I know it's not a happy book, but I have always wanted to read it, so The Bell Jar, we'll see how that goes. Alright, that'll be it for our spring TBR. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you think I should prioritize certain ones. I think we have a good mix. Got a lot of nonfiction in the mix, got a little fantasy, a lot of classics, so I think it'll be good. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I've redone my bookshelves a little bit. One of my spring break projects while being sick, I was stuck here anyway, so I did move some things around. This room is going to be a baby room, and so we are just kind of shifting things around. So all of the books that I own are now either on this wall. There's actually books over here now that you can't see, and then the other half of the books are out in the living room. So I will do a bookshelf tour probably as my next video, and I'll show you kind of what I've done here, and hopefully it'll stay that way. I think it will, because I think we'll have enough room now. The rest of this room that you can't see on that side is like completely empty now, because that's where baby stuff's gonna go. So we're getting ready. We're nesting, doing the nesting thing. So yeah, a bookshelf tour is probably gonna be my next video. Heads up on that. And yeah, thank you for watching today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep reading great books. And until next time, bye-bye.